watching the Weather Channel for accurate forecasts at your convenience. Weather you can always turn to.
This business travel forecast is sponsored.
Storm Update is sponsored by the National Flood Insurance Program administered by FEMA. Well, FEMA people have been in contact with us overnight, and we've come up with this frame here for you to show you some of the destruction from our storm here in Opal's aftermath. And the center of circulation came very close to Pensacola here, moved its way up towards the north and northeast. And in this zone right here, the early reports are in Escambia County a scene of quite a bit of devastation here on Pensacola Beach here. So extensive wind and water damage to buildings and roads in this area right here. Of course, it's nighttime, and once the sun comes up down here and the FEMA people get in and check it out here, we'll give you more details on what happened down here. But it was just a terrible scene. And take a look to neighboring Okaloosa County. A 15-foot storm surge, water right across U.S. Highway 98, and extensive damage. It appears boats, motels, and condos. So this is just a terrible story, just terrible news that we do have to report to you from the Florida Panhandle this morning. But unfortunately, we were saying this was pretty much going to happen yesterday. And the good news, I do think, is that the people were evacuated from these areas, and hopefully that'll cut down on fatalities. As we take a look at the peak winds that were reported with the storm as it moved up from the Gulf right across eastern Alabama and northwest Georgia overnight. Here you can see them right here. Mary Esther coming in with 144 miles an hour. That was just on the east side of the center circulation. Center circulation very close to Pensacola. Mary Esther here, so that's where the highest winds came on in. Now as the storm moved its way up to the northeast, look at Montgomery. Reports of 90-mile-an-hour winds. Fort Benning, Georgia, 61 miles an hour. Marietta, Georgia, had a wind gust almost to 70 miles an hour at about 2 a.m. And there you can see some other strong winds up around Huntsville up to 54. Center circulation right now moving its way up into extreme northwest Georgia, just south of Chattanooga. I'll show you that on the satellite and radar composite there. Here you can see the storm moving its way through eastern Alabama. And in this zone right here, we are getting reports of quite a bit of tree damage and numerous reports of power going out. So it is a path of destruction near this yellow dotted line right here. You probably look more to the east here, go out about 75 miles, and that's where we have a large amount of tree damage and some power outages. There's the advisory from 5 a.m. showing you where the center of circulation was at that time, about 55 miles east of Huntsville, Alabama, just southwest of Chattanooga. Storm's moving up to the north at about 25, and it should continue to sprint along in this fashion throughout the remainder of today. And the winds now 40 miles an hour sustained near the center, but we're still getting some reports of some wind gusts up to about 60 miles an hour. So here's where the core of the high winds are, and that continues to move up to the north. Here's where your center of circulation is right there. There's Chattanooga right here, so it's pretty much right on over Chattanooga right now. And it looks like up through the Great Valley of East Tennessee, it's going to be a real nasty morning with the winds and the rains. Rain's tapering off to the south. Winds will be shifting around to the west here, but the other problem that arises now will be off to the east, and that will be for the potential for severe weather. Did have some severe storms yesterday around Pinellas County and around Sarasota. We had reports of some wind damage there. And in South Carolina last night, we did have some severe thunderstorms and possible tornadoes. And through the midday hour, we have a tornado watch for portions of South and North Carolina. And we here at the Weather Channel think there could be strong storms in this entire zone right through the nighttime hours. So please keep in tune with the weather and be prepared for rapidly changing conditions as we get those bands of storms coming up on the outer fringes of Opal. Down to the south, this tropical disturbance is now getting better organized, being classified as a tropical depression, and it's very close to tropical storm status. Here we see it, Tropical Depression 18, and we'll have a new advisory out for you very shortly on this one. But it's still a tropical depression, and it is forecast to intensify into a tropical storm later on today. So what we're looking at is possibly another one out here, and this one's very far to the south. So it does have the potential to develop. So It looks like we might have to monitor that one down the road. And lastly, there's Noel. Hey, it's a hurricane once again, but it won't be for long as it weakens as it turns northeast.
Everybody was sandbagging, but...
Morning. Look for some heavy rain, windy conditions in Atlanta. You'll look for flight delays there. Warm 77 degrees for the high temperature. Boston will see showers and windy conditions later today. Possibility of flight delays in Boston, 67 cool degrees, the high there. Chicago sees showers moving in this afternoon, and as Opal gets closer, maybe some flight delays this afternoon, 65 degrees, the high in Chicago. In New York City, showers, windy, flight delays a possibility really up and down the East Coast and all the way into the Midwest. 76 degrees, the high temperature in New York. In Orlando, look for thunderstorms and the possibility of flight delays in and out of the Disney World area. 85 degrees, rather, the warm high in Orlando. Pittsburgh will see heavy rain, windy conditions this afternoon. They're much closer to where the storm is going to go. Flight delays, a good likelihood in Pittsburgh, 74 degrees. Washington, D.C., showers, windy, flight delays there, 82 degrees. Same story in the Delaware Valley. Heavy rain this morning, windy conditions this afternoon, warm and humid, and expect flight delays. If you're traveling anywhere up and down the East Coast, you're going to have a little bit of trouble today.
Okay. All right, thank you, David. 6:18 still ahead on Action News. A look at business news.
The stock market is taking a dip. We'll tell you about it.
In the Delaware Valley, 68 degrees. Our present temperature very muggy, humidity 100%. Barometer rising from 29.92 inches. Northeast wind at 6 miles an hour. The ocean temperature this morning is 68 degrees. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Here's the story. We're going to pick up rain this morning, especially heavy this morning, tapering off to showers this afternoon and tonight. But just as it tapers off, the wind picks up. Very windy this afternoon. Gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. 82 degrees, the warm and humid high. The showers continue this evening. Maybe a thunderstorm as well. And the wind stays with us. 70 the overnight low. Tomorrow, windy and warm with partly sunny skies. Maybe a shower late in the day or tomorrow night as a cold front comes through. Before that happens, we get up to a very, very warm high of 85 degrees. Now, behind the front, cooler weather moves in just in time for the weekend. Windy, cooler, partly to mostly sunny on Saturday, 72. Mostly sunny on Sunday, 67 degrees. Nice football weather. And partly sunny skies on Monday with the high temperature also 67 degrees. Now, let's check out the AccuWeather Almanac. It's Thursday, October 5th, 1995. Sun comes up at 7:01 a.m. and goes down at 6:38 p.m. tonight. Normal high for today is 70 degrees, so we're going to be well above that. The normal low, 51 degrees. 96, the record high, as we mentioned, the hottest day ever in October, 1941, and 31, the earliest freeze ever in 1961.
Okay, thank you, David. 6:24 the time now when Action News returns. The mother of Demi Moore is in hot water again with the law.
That and much more coming up next.
It was a tremendous hurricane yesterday, nearly a Cat 5 as it made its way on shore last night. Let's recap. We'll go into this a little bit and tell you what we think is going to happen. First of all, the aftermath. A tremendous damage again around landfall area, and we're talking Pensacola Beach.
While leaving a trail of damage in her wake. The unusually powerful hurricane hit land in Pensacola, Florida, and that is where Action News reporter Flora Pastorero joins us live by telephone this morning. Good morning again, Flora.
Good morning again, Monica. Hurricane Opal may be history, but she certainly left a path of destruction here in Pensacola and all along Florida's panhandle. It's going to be a day of cleaning up for residents. In Pensacola, trees are down, traffic lights toppled, windows and storefronts are shattered. There is reportedly extensive damage to Pensacola Beach and other communities along the panhandle like Destin and Fort Walton Beach. Roads are flooded and a section of a bridge has reportedly collapsed. However, only emergency crews have been allowed to venture into those areas. And today, if residents are allowed to return to their homes, they will get a first look at exactly what Opal had in store. Pensacola and the Panhandle, still bruised from Hurricane Erin just 2 months ago, will now have to pick up the pieces again and move on from here. I'm Flora Pastorero reporting live from Pensacola, Florida.
Flora, before you go, one question. You have covered several hurricanes for us this season. Compared to this hurricane, how bad is Opal?
Well, to tell you the truth, Monica, when we first got here and we actually drove through Hurricane Opal, I thought this was really going to be the whopper of all of them. And as we continued to drive south into Florida, things started to calm down, and it didn't feel as bad. Hurricane Felix, when we were in North Carolina, the winds from that hurricane were just intense. So So I would have to say that the rain from this hurricane was probably more intense than the other hurricanes than Aaron and Felix.
All right, thank you, Flora Pastorero, reporting live by telephone.
The onset of Hurricane Opal sent Gulf Coast residents racing for high ground and shelter. This was the scene last night in Alabama. Residents fled to a high school in Dothan. It was packed, but a welcome sight to this man.
Like every gasoline station we got to was just closing up as we got there. People putting nozzles in tanks and the gas pumps not being even turned on. We were looking for a place to stay. We were looking for something to eat. And so it was pretty frustrating.
Most shelters along the Gulf Coast are reported packed to double their capacity. Police reported gridlock along highways leading inland from the coast. Traffic moved as slowly as 5 miles per hour. And Opal could throw a monkey wrench in the travel plans of air travelers today, particularly those with flights involving Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport. It is a major hub. For more on that, Mark Pesch of the Philadelphia International Airport joins us now live by phone. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rick.
Give us the latest now. How is this affecting air travel?
Well, we have connecting service into Birmingham, Huntsville, Pensacola, and Tallahassee.
Not going to be a pretty sight out there on 75 and 285.
All right, thank you very much, Jody Salen, who is live outside the Weather Channel Forecast Center, and we will continue to update you on what it's having, the effects that Opal is having on the area here in Atlanta, as well as the southeast, as this thing continues to move up into Tennessee. Let's go ahead and talk about Opal a little bit. I want to show you a satellite picture first of all, and you can see the back edge of the cloudiness here across Mississippi. There's actually clear skies coming into the Florida Panhandle right now, so there's going to be sunshine this morning, and unfortunately that sunshine is going to lead to a lot of destruction and extensive damage. You can still see some of the heavier rain right up and through here, which continues to occur on the satellite picture, and the good news is it is moving rather quickly northeast at 25. So the kind of rain that we saw here since 8 a.m. yesterday is not going to occur, we don't think, up in eastern Tennessee and North Carolina. The heaviest stuff that you've gotten has already occurred. But think about it. I mean, yesterday I was showing you the same graphic in this same area got as much as 3 to 8 inches of rain. Now this morning's from what happened yesterday, and you can see the same area just pounded with more heavy rain. Some of these areas have received as much as 10 to 16 inches. As a matter of fact, to Birmingham, Alabama, 10.41, that is their storm total. A record of 10.95 is their monthly record for rainfall in October. So, I mean, obviously that's going to be broken as we work our way on in time. Let's go back and talk a little bit about the rest of the southeast, especially up into North Carolina. You can see the rainfall here as it's moving on northward, also into Virginia and on into the Philadelphia area this morning. Wet rush hour there. But again, it is right to the north of this little wall area right here that I think we saw some of the damage. Douglas County, Georgia, Fayette County, you know, we're talking near hurricane force winds there. This band is still cranking over the Cumberland Plateau. So if you live in North Chattanooga, west of Calhoun, be on the lookout up there. With a tropical storm, you tend to get a lot of wind energy with these feeder bands, and as these rotate northeast during the day today, they have the potential to produce tornadoes. Marty Standard just handed me this tornado warning for Horry County and Marion County in North Carolina. So some problems there as these systems continue to roll out of South Carolina. So that's the area that just moved through Florence, and now it's plaguing Horry County and Marion County with a potential tornado there, and I would imagine in time some wind damage. So Atlanta, some showers for you. Wind continues here as Jody showed us outside, and you're going to wake up to a lot of leaf debris and even some trees and power lines down. It's raining in the nation's capital. It's raining up onto Philadelphia. Could see those rains moving to New York before the day is done. And we've also got some showers and thunderstorms moving across Central Florida right now, including Orlando and Tampa. A large area of real estate still being affected by Tropical Storm Opal. Again, folks, we will check in with Bill Keneally a little bit later on this morning. He is down in the Florida Panhandle, and he'll let us know what kind of damage they will get and what they will see once the sun comes up and the video cameras begin to roll down that way. Let's go talk to Will for the forecast on this Thursday.
Thanks a lot, Jim. We'll check on our current weather map and show you the big deal, which is still our hurricane and also our tropical storm now, which is just a tropical storm in the southeastern part of the country. There it is. Opal continues to spin its way on northward, producing a lot of rainfall still over much of the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley area, and now bands of rain heading up into the Carolinas and southwestern Virginia. We still have a tornado watch in effect through midday today. Covers parts of North and South Carolina that'll be at least through late later this morning, probably early this afternoon. It looks like for the northeastern part of the country, here we're looking at the rains beginning to move on northward, looking at some light rainfall now around Philadelphia. Boston, the rain is on the way. It's not there yet. Good chance of rainfall later this afternoon. Very rainy skies likely tonight and also tomorrow morning for New York City and also for Boston, and some of that rain will become locally heavy. Our big weather map one more time. Another strong front begins to move across Nebraska at this time, while the western seaboard is pretty much on the quiet side. A look at national radar one more time. We'll zoom into the eastern part of the country, show you what's left over of our tropical system right now. Opal as it begins to move its way on northward. Tropical storm Opal again moving on northward through the northeastern corner of Alabama at this hour, and you can see the rainfall spinning around that. And you can also see some more rain developing as far north as around the Ohio Valley, looking at some rainfall there. And it looks like the rain now beginning to cross the Ohio River, heading up towards Columbus, even Reynoldsburg, Ohio, looking at some of that rainfall. It's all spreading on north at a pretty good clip. Time now for the forecast, and Bruce.
All righty, thank you very much, Will. Let's check out the particulars. And again, we remind you that tropical storm and forecast positions are provided by the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Now, by midday, we believe that it'll be a tropical low, not a tropical storm, with Opal once again riding on to the north. But the heavy rains will spread through the Ohio Valley into the Great Lakes, swing back towards southern New England, the New York City metro area, with strong thunderstorms feeding around the system here, and potentially some severe weather across the Carolinas and Virginia. This low drops on into position. Wrapping around it, we'll see some moisture, so pretty soggy in the northern half of the country as we work through the day today. And then on Friday morning, New England will be damp. There'll be some scattered thunderstorms still with the moisture feed with the low that's moving up over the Great Lakes into southern Quebec. And this low in the western lakes will trigger some showery weather. Once again, the rain's very heavy, especially in the Appalachians, where you get that lifting to enhance the rainfall. Locally, some spots could see 6 to 8 inches or more, but generally an inch or two is going to be quite common from the mountains on into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. It will be mild, tropical air in place here, cooler air back to the western plains, and lows drop into the teens and 20s in the Rockies, while it stays mild tomorrow morning in the east. We'll jump across
That heavy rain here in the Delaware Valley. We'll show you what it looks like in a second on Action Radar. First, let's give you the wide view. Let's take the satellite picture. And there is Tropical Storm now. Tropical Storm Opal swirling about 55 miles east of Huntsville, Alabama. This is the official posting about an hour or so ago. Winds now down to 40 miles an hour, the sustained winds. And it is really zipping along, moving to the north at 25 miles an hour. So she'll be up over Ohio by later on today or tonight. Now, as far as the rainfall left behind, these are some numbers. Meridian, Mississippi, just over 5 inches. Atlanta, Georgia, 6 2/3 inches. Look at Birmingham, Alabama, over 8 inches of rain. We'll be lucky if we see an inch or so out of the system, because it's going to go to our west a little bit. So this is what it looks like now on Action Radar. And you can see there is some heavy stuff. We started tracking this earlier. Now it's moving up toward Wilmington. Atlantic City is picking up some heavy rain through Cumberland County and Salem County, New Jersey. This whole thing is sort of lifting up to the north. So if you're in Wilmington, look for it soon. Philadelphia a little later, and maybe it hits Trenton as well before it sort of slides off to the northeast. But that is the scene. Some heavy rain in spots, showers in other spots, and some areas just warm and muggy right now, but we'll all see a little something. Let's check the call from AccuWeather, and she's Opal, but she is no gem. This is not going to be a nice day in the Delaware Valley. 63 in the Poconos, 64 for Allentown, for Reading, and for Trenton. 76 was the high yesterday. Today, a very warm, very sticky 82 degrees. Let's go live on Sky 6, and this is the scene at Philadelphia International Airport. And as you heard just a few minutes ago, all your air travel is going to be snarled today, so plan for it to take a little longer than normal. 68 degrees, our present temperature. The relative humidity is at 100%. The barometer, 29.92 inches. The pressure is rising. Winds are northeast at 6 miles an hour. The ocean temperature is 69 degrees. 67 degrees in the northeast, 68 for the station, the airport in Camden, 71 for Center City. The exclusive AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Rain heavy at times this morning, tapering off this afternoon, but that's when the wind picks up, so it's going to be a stormy day, warm and very muggy, 82 degrees, the high temperature this afternoon. Showers left around the night, maybe a thunderstorm with a heavy downpour. Still windy, 70 degrees the overnight low. Tomorrow still windy and warming up again to 85 degrees this time, with a lot of sunshine, some clouds, and late in the day or tomorrow night, the possibility of a shower. That's not Opal. That's a cold front that will come through and bring in windy and cooler weather for Saturday. It turns out mostly sunny, 72 degrees. Sunday looks great, mostly sunny, 67 degrees, 67 degrees again on Monday with partly sunny skies. So today is going to be stormy in the Delaware Valley.
Okay, thank you, David.
This morning's weather is sponsored by 100% Colombian coffee, the richest coffee in the world.
For a scope of coverage you won't find anywhere else, this is Weather Scope This Morning.
Good morning, Jim Cantore here with you live in the Weather Channel Forecast Center as we continue to update you on Tropical Storm Opal, and that's the good news. It's a tropical storm this morning as it's moved well inland, but don't be fooled. This thing has caused extensive damage all the way through Alabama and into northwestern Georgia. And we'll talk to Jody Salem in just a moment. She's outside the Weather Channel studios, and she'll have the latest for us. Let's go look at this thing as it made its way on shore. Again, Pensacola Beach, extensive wind and water damage there to buildings and roads. Okaloosa County as well. Look at that 15-foot storm surge there. One fatality in Crestview, and even Mobile County in Alabama, in western Alabama, they had some problems there with windows blown out and roof damage. So, I mean, the big blow, the major devastation will be here where the eye wall came on shore sometime around 4:30 local time in Mary Esther, where they also received a 144-mile-per-hour wind gust. I mean, look at this. I mean, unbelievable wind there at Mary Esther, 144 miles an hour. And of course, we always tell you about that when the hurricane comes on shore. It's that eastern semicircle that produces the most powerful results, and this has typically been the case. Now, as this thing tracked on off toward the northeast, it just continued to produce wind. I mean, look at Montgomery, 90 miles an hour. Fort Benning, 61 miles an hour there. Atlanta, 49 miles an hour at the airport. But Marietta, on the northwest side of town, along with Douglas and Fayette County, saw some winds anywhere from 69 to even some hurricane force gusts. And that definitely caused some problems in the Atlanta area. As a matter of fact, we're going to go find out what some of those problems are like. Jody Salem is with us this morning, and she's outside the Weather Channel studios. Jody, what's the latest you've got for us?
Well, Jim, actually, we're looking at some windy conditions that we see bands of rain moving across, and I know that we've had problems with trees down in the city, and I think that's one of the big problems. And in fact, we got a report in the Atlanta metro area, and there's a tree down on their house. So I think all the trees down across the metro and in the suburbs, there's about 70% of Atlanta right now without power.
Jody, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I know you can hear me, but I did see you stop talking. Yeah. Thank you for the update. I guess I'll check back with you in just a little bit. I don't know what she said, but I'm sure, you know, there, again, just recapping for you, there are problems in Atlanta. There are power outages. There are trees down. There are limbs and leaf debris all over the roads. It is going to be a mess this morning. And as the sun comes up, folks, I think you're going to see a grim sight all the way from northern Georgia down into the Florida Panhandle. As a matter of fact, Bill Keneally is in Fort Walton Beach this morning. We will be checking with him in just a little bit to see what he sees as the sun comes up this morning. And this is an area, again, that felt the brunt of Hurricane Opal as it made its way on shore yesterday. Let's show you what it was like as we take you to Pensacola and show you some of that video yesterday as this thing made its way on shore. Obviously, tremendous wind, tremendous seas here. Storm surge, as I mentioned, anywhere from 10 to 15 feet. 144 miles an hour at Hurlburt Field. 15-foot storm surge at Destin, Fort Wall, and Mary Esther, and landfall right around 4:30 local time. Obviously, some grim sights in that area as we saw this thing move on shore. Let's go ahead and give you an update on Opal this morning. Here's the latest advisory on it. It's currently at 34.7 north, 85.8 west. It's about 55 miles east of Huntsville. Winds are at 40 miles an hour. It is moving north at 25. So this thing is hauling, and the advisory just continues to take this right on northward. So all these areas here across the eastern Corn Belt, the upper Ohio Valley and the lower lakes can expect a very heavy rain as we work our way through today. Some good news for the areas that have been hit so hard, and we're talking about right in through here. Some of the rain is tapering off, just a few scattered showers left over on the satellite picture. But you see this? This is the back edge of the cloudiness inches, and there's actually some clearing occurring across southern Mississippi and into the Florida Panhandle this morning, so that will help some of the cleanup efforts down there. Locally in Atlanta, again, a few showers in the metro area this morning. It is going to be a rough commute. As Jody mentioned, a lot of power outages this morning, tree and wind damage, and you know, it's not going to be a pretty sight no matter how you slice it. Again, with the system being up in here now over Chattanooga, you're probably feeling some windy conditions there. If you haven't yet in Knoxville, you will, especially with this little thing right here as it moves on off to the northeast. But the big swath of rain up through the Ohio Valley, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and as you can see here, rains into the D.C. area for the rush hour this morning. So Washington up to Philly, some wet roadways, even up the Jersey Turnpike and the Garden State Parkway. Plenty of wet weather for you, and this will be moving to the tri-state area as we go through the next couple of hours or so. So anticipate some rain there. And down into Florida, still one of those feeder bands affecting you with some showers and storms. Port Charlotte, Tampa, up toward Daytona Beach. These storms continue to rip toward the northeast, and we even have some reports of tornadoes possibly in eastern South Carolina as these feeder bands continue to move northward. Another problem with this storm has been the heavy rain. We're not going to see the kind of rains we saw here in Alabama and Georgia in the tune of 3 to 8 inches as this thing flies northeastward, but still we could be talking about ½ an inch, possibly even 2 inches of rain in some of these areas as this moves on northward and make that locally even 6. So we could be seeing some very, very heavy rain as Opal continues to move on off toward the north. How's the rest of the nation look, and where's Opal going from here? Let's go and talk to Mark in the studio.
All right, thanks, Jimbo. And as we